All right, so you've given us quite the challenge this time.
Yeah.
A whole stack of documents about Sanathan Textiles Limited.
Oh, yeah. Someone's about to become an expert in yarn manufacturing.
Looks like it.
And you handed me the most interesting document of all,
Oh, yeah.
excerpts from their draft red herring prospectus.
Mm-hmm.
This is the document companies file before going public.
Right.
So it's a bit like getting a sneak peek behind the curtain.
A sneak peek with a lot of fine print, I bet.
Probably.
But that's what we're here for.
Right.
We're going to break down what they're hoping to achieve, what challenges they face, and what this all means for you.
By the end of this deep dive, you'll be able to impress anyone with your knowledge of Sanathan Textiles, their finances, and even the Indian textile industry.
Sounds like a plan.
All right.
So let's start with the basics.
Sure.
Sanathan Textiles has been around for a while, right?
Right. They were founded in 2005.
Okay.
But only recently converted to a public limited company in 2021.
And now they're gearing up for an initial public offering.
Yes, an IPO.
To list on the Bombay Stock Exchange, the BSE, and the National Stock Exchange, the NSE.
That's huge.
That's huge.
Yeah, the BSE and NSE are the two major stock exchanges in India.
Right.
This draft red herring prospectus is essentially their way of saying, hey, we're a great company. You should invest in us.
Okay, so it's like a big advertisement for their company, but with lots of nitty-gritty details.
Yeah.
For potential investors.
Exactly. One of the things that jumped out at me was the offer for sale component. Existing shareholders, even some of the promoters of the company, are selling a portion of their shares.
So if I'm understanding this right, that means I could potentially buy shares directly from these existing shareholders.
That's the idea. Okay. But here's where it gets interesting. Okay. They've also mentioned a potential pre-ITO placement.
What?
They might raise up to 1,000.00 million by selling shares before the IPO even launches.
That's unusual, isn't it?
It's not unheard of.
Okay.
But it definitely suggests they're confident about securing funding even before the IPO. It could be a strategy to attract some high-profile investors early on.
Right.
Generating more buzz around the offering.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's dive into the numbers.
Okay.
What kind of financial performance are we looking at here?
Well, their revenue growth in recent years has been pretty impressive.
Okay.
I'm talking double-digit percentages year on year.
Wow.
In fact, their revenue from operations in fiscal year 2024 was over 29,575.04 million.
Wow, that's a really big number.
It is.
Where's all that revenue coming from?
It seems that a large chunk of it is concentrated in just a handful of Indian states.
Okay.
For example, Maharashtra alone contributed 31.82% of their domestic revenue in fiscal year 2024.
Wow.
Gujarat and Punjab are also major contributors.
So they're not exactly evenly spread across the country.
Right.
Isn't that risky?
It could be.
Okay.
Relying so heavily on specific regions.
Does make them vulnerable to regional economic downturns or policy changes.
Right.
Any disruption in those states could have a significant impact on their overall business.
Okay, so high revenue, but concentrated in a few areas.
Right.
What about their profits? Are they actually making money?
They are profitable.
Okay.
But the document also flags a few potential concerns.
Such as?
One is customer defaults.
Okay.
If a major customer can't pay their bills, it could significantly impact Sanathan Textiles' bottom line.
Right. That makes sense. And I imagine since they export a good chunk of their products, fluctuations in foreign exchange rates could also be a concern.
Exactly.
Okay.
A stronger rupee could make their exports less competitive, while a weaker one might eat into their profit margins.
Right.
So managing those currency risks is a constant balancing act.
So it's not all sunshine and rainbows.
Right.
Okay, enough about the finances. Let's get to the heart of what Sanathan Textiles actually does.
What exactly are they manufacturing?
Their bread and butter is yarn manufacturing.
Okay.
They specialize in polyester yarn, cotton yarn, and what they call industrial and technical textiles. Yarns?
Yarn manufacturing sounds pretty straightforward.
Yeah.
But I'm guessing there's more to it than meets the eye.
You bet.
Okay.
Their production capacity is massive. They're churning out tons of yarn daily from their manufacturing facilities. And they're not just churning it out, they're doing it sustainably.
Okay.
They've implemented a zero liquid discharge system.
Zero liquid discharge? What does that even mean?
It means they treat and recycle all the wastewater generated during their production process, ensuring that no industrial effluent is released into the environment.
Wow.
It's a big commitment to sustainability and minimizing their environmental impact.
Okay, that's impressive. So it's not just about quantity. It's about quality and sustainability, too.
Right.
And what kind of products are they making with all this yarn? What ends up in my closet?
Their product portfolio is incredibly diverse.
Okay.
They have yarns for apparel and home textiles, and even technical textiles used in industries like agriculture and healthcare.
So they're involved in more than just fashion.
Yes.
Their yarn is pretty much everywhere.
Right.
Are they just sticking to the same old yarns? Or are they innovating?
They're definitely innovating.
Okay.
They have a dedicated product innovation and development team that's constantly researching and developing new types of yarns with enhanced properties and applications.
So they're not just keeping up with the times, they're trying to stay ahead of the curve.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And they're doing all this while maintaining a global reach.
Wow.
Their distribution network spans multiple countries, allowing them to reach a wide customer base and manage their risk by not relying on just one market.
A global safety net smart.
Yeah.
Okay. So we've covered a lot about the company itself, but let's zoom out for a second and talk about the bigger picture.
Okay.
The Indian textile industry as a whole.
It's a huge industry, a major contributor to India's economy. And within the industry, polyester yarn reigns supreme.
Why polyester? What makes it so special?
Polyester has so many advantages over traditional materials like cotton. It's stronger, more durable, wrinkle-resistant. Consumers love it.
Okay, so polyester is like the superstar of textiles.
It is.
And Sanathan Textiles is riding that wave with their focus on polyester yarn.
They are. But it's not just polyester that holds potential.
Right.
The technical textile segment is also expected to see huge growth in India.
Technical textiles, break that down for us.
Okay.
What are those exactly?
Think of technical textiles as fabrics engineered for specific functions beyond just aesthetics. Things like geotextiles for road construction, medical textiles for wound care, and even high-performance fabrics for sportswear.
Wow, so it's all about function over fashion.
Yeah.
Sounds like a pretty cutting-edge area.
It is, and India is well-positioned to become a global leader in this segment.
Oh, wow.
Thanks in part to government initiatives aimed at boosting manufacturing and exports.
So there's government support for this industry?
There is.
Okay.
Schemes like the Production-Linked Incentive Scheme are designed to encourage domestic production and make Indian textile companies more competitive globally.
Okay.
They also introduced the Quality Control Order, the QCO, to curb low-quality imports and benefit domestic manufacturers like Sanathan Textiles.
So they have some tailwinds pushing them forward.
Yes.
But with all this positive momentum, there have to be some challenges too, right?
Of course.
No business is perfect.
Right. And to their credit,
Sanathan
Textiles doesn't shy away from addressing these in their draft red herring prospectus. In fact, they lay out quite a few risk factors.
All right, let's take a look at the other side of the coin then. What are some of the things that could potentially hold Sanathan Textiles back?
Well, they point out their dependence on the creditworthiness of their customers.
Right.
If a major customer faces financial difficulties and can't pay their bills, it could have a ripple effect on Sanathan Textiles' bottom line.
It's like a domino effect.
Yeah.
One shaky piece can topple the whole structure.
Right.
And because they operate on such a large scale, even a small percentage of defaults could translate into substantial losses.
Exactly. They're not immune to those kinds of risks.
Okay.
Another one they highlighted is their exposure to fluctuations in foreign exchange rates.
Right, since they export a good chunk of their products.
Yes.
A strong rupee could make their exports less competitive, while a weak rupee could erode their profit margins.
Yeah.
It's a tricky situation to navigate.
It is. Managing those currency risks is a constant challenge for companies operating in global markets.
Right.
Then there's the competition. They face intense pressure from both established players and new entrants in the textile industry.
Makes sense. The textile market is large and growing, attracting a lot of players who all want a piece of the pie.
Right.
So how does Sanathan Textiles plan to stay ahead of the pack?
Well, they're focusing on product differentiation. Instead of just producing standard yarns, they're creating specialty yarns with unique properties and applications. They have a dedicated product innovation and development team that's constantly researching, experimenting, and pushing the boundaries of yarn technology.
So they're like yarn wizards, concocting new fibers with magical properties.
Yeah.
It sounds like they're taking inspiration from the tech world. Always iterating, always improving.
They are. And they're not just innovating for innovation's sake. They're leveraging their deep understanding of customer needs to develop yarns that solve specific problems for various industries.
It's all about having a product that offers real-world value.
Right.
That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
But there are always risks, even with the most innovative products.
Sure.
What else is Sanathan Textiles concerned about?
One risk they highlight is the potential for quality issues. Even with rigorous quality control measures, errors or defects can slip through, especially when they're introducing new products or experimenting with new materials.
It's a reminder that no system is perfect. Those quality issues could lead to product returns, damage their reputation, and even result in legal liabilities.
Exactly. Maintaining consistent quality is absolutely crucial in this industry. It's all about building trust with their customers.
Okay, we've got competition, currency, credit risks, quality control. What else is keeping them up at night?
They also discuss the potential impact of geopolitical events. Things like trade wars, political instability, even natural disasters in other parts of the world can disrupt their operations.
It's a volatile world, that's for sure.
It is.
These events can impact supply chains, affect demand, and create all sorts of uncertainty for businesses like Sanathan Textiles.
Precisely. They're acknowledging that factors beyond their control could significantly influence their business, no matter how well established they are. But they're not just sitting back and waiting for these things to happen. They're taking steps to address these challenges.
So they're being realistic but proactive. What are some of their strategies for dealing with these potential problems?
They're taking a multifaceted approach to manage credit risks. They've implemented robust credit assessment procedures to carefully evaluate the financial stability of their customers.
So they're not just giving out credit to anyone. They're doing their due diligence to minimize the risk of defaults.
Exactly. They're also diversifying their customer base to avoid over-reliance on any single customer.
Smart move. Spreading the risk makes a lot of sense. And how are they handling the currency fluctuations?
They're engaging in hedging strategies. Using financial instruments like forward contracts to lock in exchange rates.
Hedging, can you explain that in simpler terms?
Think of it as insurance against currency fluctuations. They're using these financial tools to minimize the impact of unpredictable exchange rates and maintain stable profits.
So they're not just crossing their fingers and hoping for the best when it comes to currency.
No.
They're taking concrete steps to manage that risk.
Right.
What about quality control? How are they ensuring that their yarn meets the highest standards?
They have a comprehensive quality management system covering every stage of manufacturing, from sourcing raw materials to the final inspection. They've put processes in place to catch any potential defects.
They're really trying to build quality into every single step.
Yes.
But even with the best systems, things can still go wrong.
Right. That's why they don't just rely on systems. They've also invested heavily in advanced testing equipment and are committed to training their employees on the best quality control practices.
So the combination of technology, processes, and people. A three-pronged approach to maintaining quality.
Right.
And I imagine those external certifications we talked about earlier also help reassure customers.
Absolutely. Those certifications, like the Global Recycled Standard and the OECO-TEX Standard 100, provide transparency and accountability, which are highly valued by customers and investors alike.
It shows they're willing to go above and beyond to build trust and credibility.
Yes.
But let's go back to those geopolitical risks. Those seem a lot harder to manage since they're external and largely unpredictable.
You're right. You can't exactly predict or control global events.
Right.
But they're not ignoring the problem. They're actively monitoring global trends, assessing potential risks, and developing contingency plans.
So they're staying informed and adaptable.
Yes.
Ready to adjust their strategies if needed.
Exactly.
That kind of agility is essential in today's world.
And they're also taking steps to diversify their operations and markets, spreading their risk geographically so they're not overly reliant on any single region.
That makes a lot of sense. They're essentially creating a global safety net.
Yeah.
Now, on top of all this, they also mentioned a commitment to sustainability.
Right.
What's the story there?
Their commitment to sustainability is more than just words.
Okay.
It's woven into their operations.
Uh-huh.
We talked about their zero liquid discharge system,
Right.
but their efforts extend beyond that.
Okay.
They're even exploring the use of recycled materials in their products.
So are they just jumping on the green bandwagon for good PR, or are they walking the talk?
They're definitely walking the talk.
Okay.
They have a brand called Sanathan Revero, focused on products made from recycled yarn.
Okay.
It aligns perfectly with the growing consumer demand for eco-friendly products,
Right.
while reducing their reliance on virgin materials.
Okay, so they're not just talking about sustainability. They're taking concrete steps to put those values into practice.
Yeah.
And those certifications we discussed earlier also back up their claims.
Exactly. It shows they're serious about minimizing their environmental impact and are being transparent about their processes.
Right.
But their commitment to doing the right thing doesn't stop at sustainability.
Okay.
They're also focused on solid corporate governance practices.
Corporate governance, that sounds a bit dry.
Yeah.
Why should I care about that?
Corporate governance is all about transparency, accountability, and ethical conduct.
Okay.
It's about ensuring that the company is managed responsibly and fairly, benefiting all stakeholders, not just the shareholders.
Okay, so it's about doing the right thing even when nobody's watching.
Right.
And what does that look like in practice for Sanathan Textiles?
They have a diverse and experienced board of directors with a mix of executive and independent directors. This ensures that decisions are made in the best interests of all stakeholders, not just the company insiders.
So it's like having a checks and balances system in place.
Yeah.
What else are they doing?
They've established several board committees to provide specialized oversight in key areas like auditing and remuneration. They also have a clear whistleblower policy, encouraging employees to report any unethical or illegal activities without fear of retaliation.
So they're fostering a culture where speaking up is encouraged. It sounds like they are serious about ethical conduct and want to do things the right way.
They are. And these strong corporate governance practices are a good sign for potential investors.
Okay.
It indicates a well-managed and sustainable business.
It sounds like Sanathan Textiles has covered all his bases. Strong financials, innovative product, a commitment to sustainability, and a focus on ethical governance.
Yeah.
Is there anything else we should be paying attention to?
There's one more detail that might be particularly insightful for you. Given your interest in the future of yarn manufacturing.
Okay, I'm all ears. What is it?
Remember how we talked about the quality control order, the QCO?
Right, the one aimed at curbing those low-quality imports and giving domestic manufacturers a boost?
Exactly. Well, Sanathan Textiles is uniquely positioned to benefit from this order.
How so?
The QCO sets specific standards for yarn quality, pushing out those cheaper, lower-quality imports that don't meet those standards.
Right.
This creates a more level playing field for domestic manufacturers like Sanathan Textiles, who are already committed to producing high-quality yarn.
So it's not just about protecting domestic companies. It's about raising the bar for quality across the entire industry.
Precisely. And Sanathan Textiles is already ahead of the game with their comprehensive quality management systems and those external certifications we discussed.
Okay.
They're in a prime position to capitalize on this shift in the market.
It sounds like they've strategically positioned themselves for success, not just within India, but globally as well.
They have. And it's not just about reacting to market changes.
Right.
They're actively shaping the future of yarn manufacturing.
Okay.
Their focus on innovation, sustainability, and ethical practices is setting a new standard for the industry.
It's inspiring to see a company that's not just focused on profits, but on making a positive impact on the world.
It is. They're proving that sustainability and profitability can go hand in hand.
We've covered so much ground in this deep dive company, history, financials, their operations industry, insights, potential risks, and their strategies for navigating those risks.
It's been quite a journey.
We've even touched on their sustainability initiatives and commitment to ethical governance.
It has.
It's been quite a journey.
And you're now armed with a wealth of knowledge about Sanathan Textiles and the yarn manufacturing industry.
But I have a feeling this is just the beginning.
Absolutely. This deep dive has given you a solid foundation, but there's always more to learn. Keep asking questions, keep digging deeper, and keep an eye on Sanathan Textiles as they continue to innovate and evolve.
I know I will. It's been fascinating.
Great.
So any final thoughts for our listener before we wrap things up?
Given everything we've discussed, their commitment to innovation, their focus on sustainability, and their strong corporate governance.
All right.
What do you think the future holds for Sanathan Textiles? How do you see them shaping the yarn manufacturing landscape in the years to come?
That's a great question to ponder.
Yeah.
And a perfect note to end on. Happy exploring.